Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is the second crowdfunding roundup for the month of October, and in today's video we're going to take a look at everything that I'm recommending that launched between October the 4th and the 10th. Now this video is coming out about a week later than usual because I went up to the San Francisco area for my wife's birthday, and I didn't take technology while I was gone. I didn't take my laptop with me, and I wasn't working on game stuff. So this is coming about a week late, but luckily that week was a very thin week. So I only have 2 campaigns to talk about today. So this is going to be a fairly quick video, and then I'll be back with a second video. It should be launching about a day or 2 after this one, so fairly closely on its heels and at about the regular time. And that video is going to have 8 different campaigns in it, and at the end of this video I'll mention what those 8 campaigns are. I'm also doing a little feature now as I'm gearing up to relaunch my Teach and Reviews and start live streaming games. I'm mentioning the games that are coming into my collection every period. And because I haven't made a video in a couple weeks, I do have a lot of games that have come in. I'll talk about those games at the end of the video as well. And if those are games that you'd like to see live streamed, or you'd like to see me make a Teach and Review for, you can always let me know in the comments. That means that the second video, the one that's launching in another day or 2, will only have a few games. I'm going to have a retail shipment of games that has maybe a half a dozen games that I'll talk about in that video, as well as another Kickstarter that I'm expecting later today. But other than those retail games and that one Kickstarter, there won't be too many games that I'll be mentioning in that video. Most of them are going to talk about at the end of this video. So for now, the best way to support this channel is still to like and subscribe. It helps me with the algorithm. It helps, people find the video and the video get more popular. So I really appreciate it whenever people are able or wanting to do that. Also, my videos are all tabbed, so you can scroll over the play bar and find exactly the content you're looking for, although there will only be 2 campaigns that I'll be talking about in this video. And as always, I have links to those campaigns in the description section. So if you just go down to the description section, you will see the name of those campaigns, and you can click on the link afterwards and it will take you right there. Okay, without any further ado, let's get started on the first of the 2 campaigns that I wanted to talk about today. Now, this is a campaign that launched on October the 10th. This is also our biggest multiplier campaign of the week. There's only 2, so one of these is the biggest multiplier, and the other one is currently making the most money. But at least they, split the awards between them. So as we can see, this started with a funding goal of $15,000. They're well over that. They're almost 10 times there, and the campaign here is going to run until November the 2nd. Now, this is for 2 new games. One's called Cascadero, the other one is called Cascadito, and as is often the case with Itos, it is a smaller game, Cascadito. It's kind of a roll-and-write version of Cascadero. But both of these games have been designed by Reiner Knizia, and Bitewing Games did a campaign for another game from Reiner like a year or 2 ago. That was this game, Vadis. So they're giving you a second opportunity to back for that game if you want to. And I myself think I'm probably going to back this for Vadis. I may or may not back for Cascadero, haven't decided yet, but I'm almost definitely going to back for Vadis. And Vadis isn't normally my type of game, but Monique and Naveen at Before You Play did a really good teach and playthrough of it, and I'd recommend checking that out. But it sold me on the game after that campaign had ended. So I'm really happy to have a second chance here to get the deluxe version of Vadis. So Reiner Knizia, if you don't know him by name, the 5 games that he's probably best known for are Modern Art, My City, The Quest for El Dorado, Ra, and Tigris and Euphrates. And Tigris and Euphrates has been remade twice within the last 5 or 6 years. Once as Huang by a publisher named Phalanx, and once as Yellow and Yangtze. So all 3 of those games are basically the same game. And another thing that attracts me to this a lot is the fact that it has art from Ian O'Toole. Now, Ian O'Toole is best known for a lot of Vital Lacerda games. His top 5 games right now rated on Board Game Geek are Carnegie, and then some Lacerda games, The Gallerist, Kanban EV, Lisboa, and On Mars. But he does almost all the artwork for all Lacerda games. He also did the art for Merv, The Heart of the Silk Road, and he's just got a really great graphic design style, and whenever he does the art, he does the graphic design as well. And he's a really talented artist at kind of weaving the theme into the mechanics in the game. So usually if you play heavier games that have been illustrated by Ian, the more you play them over your first several plays, the more you'll start to make mental connections with design and art elements on the board and things that'll pull together the theme. Like the more you play it, you'll notice these things more and more. So I'm really excited that Ian O'Toole has done the art on this. And then Vadis here was illustrated by Kwanchai Maria, who did the art for Cryptid, Dinosaur Island, In the Hall of the Mountain King, Sidereal Confluence, and Under Falling Skies. And I mean, both of these guys, in my opinion, are two of the best artists working today. And Kwanchai Maria has kind of like a heavy line art style. And once you see his art, you'll know it. It's really unique. Also, this is being published by Bitewing Games. They're a newer, kind of smaller publisher, but I've been really impressed with them so far. They published Vadis, they published Trailblazers, and recently they did a Kickstarter campaign for another Ryan Courtney game. He's the designer of Trailblazers, as well as Pipeline, as well as Curious Cargo. But they did a Kickstarter for a social deduction, or maybe not social, just a deduction game of his called Spectral. And so I think Bitewing is a publisher that very quickly I've learned is super reliable and just doing a very good job of producing good games with, in general, a high component quality. So I would have no qualms about backing this if I were you. Now, Cascadero is kind of a tile placement game with chaining in it. Knowing Reiner Knizia, it's probably on the medium light end. Reiner has a lot of different designs. He's a super prolific designer, but I would say that most of his designs fall in the sort of medium light range, and he has a real talent for making games that have really good strategic and even tactical choices, but games that you can kind of learn and teach and be taught fairly quickly. So they don't have a huge rules overhead. There's not a lot of mechanical systems that are complicated and you have to kind of parse how they all work together. His games are fairly quick to learn and then have just a lot of tactical choices to them. So, if that appeals to you, if you like kind of medium light games with good choices, you may really like his designs. Okay, so we're going to check out this video and then we'll come back and we'll go over the 7 pledges because there's a lot of bundles, including with the different variations of Vadis.
Cascadero is the newest epic strategy game from acclaimed designer Reiner Knizia. Players act as ministers to El Cascadero, visiting towns by placing their envoys adjacent to these towns. But towns are distrustful of single envoys, so newly placed envoys will only trigger town scoring when they are part of a group. Strategically rack up successes as you compete to become El Cascadero's favorite minister. And joining the lineup is the smaller sibling Cascadito. Cascadito retains the challenging, combo-tastic core of Cascadero while providing a refreshingly unique and complementary experience. Players are limited to the dice options on the table and must watch their opponents' routes carefully to thwart their plans. This smaller, quicker game packs a punch with a solo mode and 4 unique maps, which are guaranteed to provide hours of strategic fun. Trigger a thrilling cascade of combos with Cascadero and Cascadito by Reiner Knizia and Ian O'Toole.
All right, it was a pretty quick video there. Let's go down and look at these pledges. And one thing I'm going to just preface before we start this is that I'm going to be talking about shipping throughout this video. Whenever I talk about shipping, I'm talking about it in terms of continental US. And before I even start, I'll just say that the shipping for this campaign is $4 for the continental US, and that doesn't matter what you order. So if you're ordering a big bundle with all 3 games, you're still only paying $4 in shipping, which is a pretty amazing deal. Another really good thing that Bitewing is doing, I don't know how they're doing it, but I'm assuming they're baking a lot of the shipping costs into the prices of the game. So, the shipping number on its own isn't this big number. Okay. So the first reward that you can pledge for is Cascadito. That is just the roll and write game. It's a $19 pledge, $4 in shipping, $23 total. If you want to just get Cascadero, which is the larger game, the tile placement game with chaining, that is a $49 pledge with $4 shipping, $53 total. Then we go down to one of 2 Vadis versions. There's the standard and there's the deluxe. So this is the standard version. Just like Cascadero, this is a $49 pledge with $4 in shipping, bringing that to $53 total. And we'll go over the differences in a minute when we get to the deluxe version of the game. Okay, then we've got a bundle with Cascadero and Cascadito together. Remember, together, these were $19.49, which would make them $68 together, and that's what they're bundling them for. So they're keeping everything in line with the separate prices. They're not offering you a bundle discount here. But again, it's just $4 in shipping, so the $68 pledge for both games will end up being $72 total. Then we go to Vadis, the Deluxe Edition, and this is a $74 pledge with $4 of shipping. That brings it to $78 in total. And now let's go down a little bit further. Let's take a look at Vadis here so we can see the differences between the 2 versions. This is a game where you're going to have things that you're doing behind player screens. So you've got the player screens here, you've got these kind of wooden animals that you're using, and the standard edition is going to look like this. So you've got these player screens, these ability tiles, tokens, things like this. If you're looking at the deluxe edition, the improvements that you're getting are thicker player screens, wooden ability tokens instead of cardboard tokens, and then clay chips for the money instead of cardboard tokens. So that upgrade, these 3 things, is going to raise the price of the game $25 from $49 to $74. So if these improvements are worth $25 to you, then go for it. Go for the deluxe. I think that's probably what I'll end up doing as well. Then we've got a retailer pledge, which I'm going to ignore. Then we've got 2 bundles, 2 Reiner Knizia bundles. There is the standard bundle. So this is going to come with Cascadero, Cascadito, and Vadis, the standard version, but you are getting some extras in this. You're getting the deluxe wood farmer tiles for Cascadero, you're getting the dry erase boards and markers for Cascadito, and you're getting these faction bags for Vadis. So that comes in this bundle. And the faction bags, just in case you're thinking of getting Vadis, they're not included with either version of the game. So if you do want the faction bags, you will need to add them on unless you're doing one of these big bundles. And I believe that goes for like the wood farmer tiles and the dry erase boards as well. I don't think these are included with the other versions of the game up here. Let's see. Cascadito, Cascadero, no. So if those are extras... Oh, they are included in the bundle, not the individual games, but they are included in the bundle. So if you're ordering either of these games by themselves and you want those upgrades, you will need to add on those upgrades. But if you're doing a bundle, you're taken care of. Okay, and then the last bundle that we have here is the Big Knizia bundle, the deluxe version. So it's the exact same thing, but it's going to come with the deluxe version of Vadis. But again, you're also getting the deluxe wood farmer tiles, the dry erase boards and markers, and those faction bags. Now, these 2 pledges, let's see, the first one is $117 with $4 in shipping. That's $121. And then for the bundle that includes the deluxe version of Vadis, it's a $142 pledge, $4 in shipping brings the total to $146. Okay, now let's say you're just going to get one of these games, but you want some of the extras. Here are those add-ons if you want to just get them on their own. The Cascadero Farmer tiles, which are wood tiles, are going to be $8. And again, they note here, this is free with any bundle pledge. But if you're getting just Cascadero, you may want to add these on. Same deal with Cascadito. They're giving you 4 dry erase markers, 8 double-sided dry erase maps. They come in the bundle, but if you're getting the game separately, you may want to add these on, $10 as an add-on. And then you can always add on either version of Zoo Vadis. In keeping with the pledge prices, the cost of the standard is $49 and the deluxe is $74. And then we've also got those Zoo Vadis faction bags. These are included in the big Knizia bundle pledge. That is either version, the standard or the deluxe. And for me, if I end up getting just Zoo Vadis and Cascadero, I won't be getting a bundle, so I will need to add these on too. Now, Bitewing is planning to deliver these games in September of 2024. And that brings us to our second campaign of the week. This is Erune, Light and Darkness. And this is an expansion for a dungeon crawler that delivered, I think, this year. Let's double check this. No, in 2021. So this has kind of been out there for a little while, and it's rated pretty well. It's got an 8.2 rating, which is good. I think that's pretty good, especially when it's coming from a studio and a designer where they're doing this for the first time. So I would have been, pretty nervous about backing a dungeon crawler by new designers and a new publisher the first time around, but that's happened. It was delivered in 2021. It has pretty good ratings. The complexity on this is a 3.14, which is pretty much in the middle of the medium-heavy range. And it's a dungeon crawler with action points, dice rolling, a modular board. It's team-based, and there's going to be some paper and pencil going on with this game. So let's take a look over here at this video. This is a bit of a longer video, but I think that's fine since we're only looking at 2 campaigns today. And then we will come back and we'll look at the 4 pledges for this one.
In the fragile peace of the Third Age, humans, dwarves, elves, and all live under the light. But in the ruins of the city of Magi, tormented souls gathered and awoke a new evil. Creatures of the abyss awoke, and soon enough the lands of Erune plunged into endless darkness. Driven by the Master of Shadows, monsters started a new war that threatens the balance of the world. Yet, amidst the impending chaos, one fact remains. Every shadow exists because of the light that casts it. You hold the beacon of hope. Only you can save the world of Erune.
Erune Light and Darkness offers an unprecedented dungeon crawler experience. The spirit of Erune accompanies up to 5 players on an interactive adventure of a new kind, propelling players into unparalleled immersion through an innovative application. Adventurers will take part in an epic battle that will change Erune's destiny forever as they tackle the source of the shadows. Write your own story by fighting the Master of Shadows, alone or with friends, controlled by the app or by a player with an evil streak. As heroes progress through the story, new and challenging dungeons will be revealed. They'll face the monsters of the Master of Shadows in daring battles, using a variety of dice and resources for spells or special abilities. They'll find weapons, equipment, magical artifacts, gold, and precious treasure. Through immersive narration, the spirit of Erune will guide the players through their adventures like a true game master. It unveils the dungeon's rooms and their loot, randomly selected from thousands of possibilities. With a bit of luck, you might get your hand on some epic or legendary items. Events and stories will unfold as you meet characters dubbed by professional actors. Adventurers can interact with them and make crucial choices that influence the course of the quest. Choose wisely, as the story will not be the same depending on which adventurer interacts. The spirit of Erune is also a font of knowledge. It can describe specific rules, item properties, and share details about the lore of the Erunian world. Don't forget the Heroes and Master of Shadows objectives. They'll impact the outcome of quests and shape the adventure. By killing monsters and completing quest objectives, heroes gain levels which increase their characteristics. Players can decide to master new equipment, spells, and powerful skills. Each adventurer, as well as the Master of Shadows, wields their own unique deck of 40 skill cards. Upon mastering the essential skills, they rise to one of their heroic classes, unlocking 3 new abilities and signature skills that can utterly reshape their in-game strategy. But beware, cooperation is key, as the Master of Shadows will gain experience as well, obtaining even more powerful skills and artifacts for their monsters, and curses against heroes. To start, choose the adventurer you'll embody. Take their miniature, adventurer card, skill deck, and character sheet. Choose a name and fill in the level 1 characteristics from their adventurer card. Add the required HP and mana tokens on your sheet, and select one skill of your choice from your deck. Voila! You're all set to embark on your adventure. In the app, select your game mode. If you choose Master of Shadows mode, one player will control the monsters and face off against the adventurers. Select the adventurers in your party and choose your quest. Ready? The adventure can begin. The quest kicks off with a narrative journey where every choice you make carries weight. Your decisions in this pre-quest will significantly shape your story and set the conditions, both with rewards and penalties, for the beginning of your quest. Choose wisely, as not all choices lead to success. The Spirit of Erune reveals the first dungeon room to be placed on the board. The adventurers position themselves at the dungeon entrance, and it's their turn to play. Each adventurer can perform 2 basic actions in any order they choose. The mage moves and triggers an event. She tells the app. The mage speaks to the bard. For 5 gold, I will open the best passage for you. One of the doors is now unlocked by the bard. The mage continues her movement to search the barrel. The Spirit of Erune reveals what she finds. She records her loot on the character sheet. The demon huntress moves and opens the door. The Spirit of Erune reveals the room layout and the monster within. She uses her thunderous strike ability on the ghoul, dealing 2 skull damage. In the app, she inputs the inflicted damage to reveal the ghoul's defense. It's killed, and the huntress gains 4 experience points. She finishes by heading to the alchemy table to craft a potion using mana and collected substances. The monk moves and opens the ebony door. Using his Celestial Burst spell, the monk attacks multiple monsters while moving, spreading his damage. To boost his damage, he drinks mead, adding a blue combat die to his attack. Spending 1 stamina point, he activates his adrenaline skill, adding a black die. The monsters defend, and the monk successfully kills a goblin and a flame cruncher. All adventurers have completed their actions, then hit the End Turn button. It's now the Master of Shadows' turn to play. The goblin mounts a devil hound, becoming a fearsome goblin rider. The devil hound attacks the closest adventurer, the monk. The goblin rider makes a ranged attack on the adventurer with the fewest surrounding monsters. If there's a tie, the closest one is targeted by default, the demon huntress. Each creature acts according to its own instincts and abilities. The adventurers defend in real time. The Master of Shadows also casts curses on the adventurers and activates special skills for his monsters. Once his turn is over, a new turn begins. With each new round, the Spirit of Erune triggers events influenced by players' actions. It appears that monsters have followed the adventurers inside the dungeon and now arrive at the entrance. Unleash your inner adventurer. Go solo or rally your squad for a next-level dungeon crawling experience. Become the Legend of Erune. Embark on your quest now. The Master Pledge offers the complete Erune experience, including all its exclusive content. For those who already own the Adventure or Heroic Edition of Erune 1, the Light and Darkness expansion awaits you in the Legendary Pledge. The world of Erune needs you. Join the adventure now on Kickstarter.
Arcada Studio. Speak with your game.
I think that was actually a really good video in terms of, like, even though it was long, it gives you a really good idea for how the game works and the gameplay. You get to see all those really colorful miniatures, which I love. And you see how it would work, you know, either as a co-op or a solo game, or as that kind of one versus many. And I really like the idea that they have, you know, the ability to play that either way. Although everyone should take note that either way you want to play it, you still will need an app. So if you're not someone who likes your board games, you know, with an app, with an integrated app, then this may not be a game for you. But I think there's a lot of cool stuff in there, and I really like how they presented the information, because sometimes, you know, you see videos at the top of a Kickstarter campaign and they show you a lot of animated stuff and graphics, but they don't actually show the gameplay. They're just showing you art that has little to do with the game itself. So I like that they did that. Now, this campaign also launched on October the 10th. It is set to run until October the 31st. They had a funding goal of $52,000, so they don't have as big a multiplier as the other campaign, but they're actually making more money at this point in time. So they're up around $195,000. Both campaigns are very well funded. And now we're going to go down. We're going to take a look at these various pledges. I should mention that Arcada Studio has produced one other game in addition to Erune. It's called Spark Riders 3000, but it hasn't delivered yet. I believe it's supposed to deliver before the end of this year. So they actually have produced 2 games before this expansion, but that second game is not yet in the hands of backers, of customers. Okay, and then the new expansion here, Light and Darkness, is going to add in new heroes, quests, lore, and foes. So a little bit of everything to help you, bulk out your game and your experience. So we've got kind of 2 pairs of pledges here. You've got this legendary pledge, which is just for this new expansion. This is a $94 pledge, $32 of shipping, $126 total. And this is going to come with this new expansion, the app, and any associated stretch goals. If you want a lot of quality of life improvements in the gameplay, then you're going to want to go for this legendary pledge all in. So this one is $147, $32 of shipping for a total of $169. So this is $43 more than the other pledge once you account for shipping. And they're going to add in a bunch of things with this. So you'll get everything here that you had with the previous pledge level, but then you're also going to get a neoprene playmat, a dice tray, token trays, which are very similar to the dice tray, a little bit smaller, I think, and I believe there are 3 of them. You're going to have a printed map and a dice add-on, which I believe is just extra dice so that you're not all sharing the same dice around the table. And then if we go to the next 2 pledges, they kind of operate the same way. So you've got this first master pledge. This is going to come with the core game and the new expansion and the first expansion that was part of the original campaign. It's called the Heroic expansion. So you're getting those 3 things along with the app and the stretch goals. This is a $227 pledge, $43 in shipping, bringing it to $270 total. Now, if you backed this within the first 48 hours, which means it's too late now, you would be getting something called the Codex of Erune. But we're going to talk about this more when we go over the add-ons, because it is available for you to just get as an add-on and pay money for if you kind of missed this during the first 48 hours. Then, if we go to this higher pledge, the Master Pledge All In, this is basically kind of combining both of things. So you've got the Master Pledge with the base game, the Heroic expansion, and the new expansion. And then you're also getting all of the extras. So the playmat, the token trays, the dice tray, the printed map, and the dice add-on. This is a $280 pledge, $43 in shipping for a total of $323. All right, and I believe that's the last pledge, unless they've added anything. No, they had kind of like an early bird special, but that is gone. That's long gone. But let's take a look at the add-ons that I've been talking about. So if you want to get some of these things, but not all of them, you can always pledge at the lower level and then add on what you want. So this is that enormous playmat. This is, let's see. I think I converted these into US dollars because they're in euros. So in US dollars, this enormous playmat is a $30 add-on. Here is that Erune's printed map. This is $11 as an add-on. Here's the dice tray, $16 as an add-on. Here's that dice set with additional dice, $11 as an add-on. Here are those token trays, which look very much like the dice trays. I believe they're just a little bit smaller, but you can use these to hold resources, and I believe you're getting 3 of them. So this is $27 as an add-on. And then finally, here is that Codex of Erune. Now, this is going to be $38 as an add-on, but again, if you pledge this in the first 48 hours, you're already getting this for free, so you want to make sure you do not add it on. And this is going to come with lore and artwork and the ability to create your own quests. Now, there's one more thing here, which is the Heroic expansion. This is the expansion that was included in the first Kickstarter. So this is $53 as an add-on, comes with 40 miniatures, 135 cards, 35 tokens. This is, more gameplay, and this is going to come with either of the 2 Master Pledge bundles. The one that's just the core game with all the expansions, or the one that's the core game with the expansions, and then all the additional add-on stuff. But if you are pledging this campaign to get the core game, the only way to do that is for the 2 more expensive bundles. You will also be getting this Heroic expansion. And if you scroll down a little bit here, you can see kind of a more detailed list of what is in this Heroic expansion. And then they also do have this thing here. They're just kind of putting out feelers, asking if people would like a standee version, which theoretically could be produced cheaper than the miniature version. Although if they do really nice acrylic standees, those often end up costing about the same amount. But I think they're probably talking about a cardboard standee version, which would be cheaper. This is not something that they have right now, but they're just trying to see if this is something that would be worth them making in the future. Finally, this is going to deliver in January of 2025. All right, so that wraps the video for the most part. The games that I will be talking about in the next video, which should go up in the next 24 to 48 hours, I've got 8 different campaigns to share with you in that video, and it's a pretty interesting mix, I think, of games by bigger publishers and some smaller things. So those campaigns will include Keyforge Grim Reminders, a 2-player deduction game, I think it's an 18-card deduction game, plays very quickly. It's called Classified Information, Villagers of the Oak Dell, which is a roll and write, the new Dice Throne campaign, which is going to include X-Men stuff, Marvel co-op missions, and Deadpool. A game called Fall of Lumen. Another game called The Gilded Realms. Both of those 2 are by more unknown publishers. A game that's on backer kit called Molly House, which is being produced by Whirligig Games. Now that's Cole Worley, the designer of Root and Pax Pamir, and this is a game that focuses on queer folk in the Victorian era. Before Cole became a board game designer, he actually studied, I believe that was his major, was Victorian Studies. So he has some expertise in this. But I really like Whirligig Games as a publisher. Not only has Cole done an amazing job designing all of Root, but the 2 things that they've made through Whirligig Games, his publishing company, the 2nd edition of Pax Pamir and John Company, are so well produced. Such nice components, but done in a way that's different than you see usually in other games. And I know Cole has a co-designer for Molly House, but I'm really looking forward to that game and that production value. And I think if those are, kind of themes that you're interested in, it's a really good thing to look at. And then lastly, the Obsession character expansion and metal coins. Although something to make note of that is that the publisher of Obsession wants to be considerate to the retailers that have been selling his game previously. So he's not offering the base game or the previous expansions. You're still going to need to go through retail if you want to get the base game of Obsession or the previous stuff. This newer campaign is just going to be for this character expansion and metal coins. Okay, so that's everything that will be in the next video to come. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention before we wrap are the games that I got into my collection this period. There was a box of retail games. I'm going to talk about that in the next video. along with the Kickstarter that should be delivering later today. But the other stuff that I got, one is a Euro from a new designer and publisher called Alderman. It features action points and auction and bidding, and it's themed around the Hanseatic League. And I just wanted to take a chance with a newer publisher that looked like they'd made a pretty compelling game. But I don't know too much about the game as of yet. I need to get it played. I also got Call of Kilforth, which I'm really excited. That's going to be my first sort of foray into the Kilforth universe. And I think it's sort of, if I'm remembering that game, because I think I've backed another game of his, it's like a dungeon crawl with cards. I've also got the newest expansions for Castles of Mad King Ludwig renovations. I think Castles of Mad King Ludwig is just one of those kind of evergreen games that can be played by anyone. You're constructing a castle floor plan, and a lot of the rooms score off of other rooms. So the more that you build, the more you start to lay out rules, and then you have to kind of build on those rules and follow those rules to score points. And I think it's just a really good game with a lot of good choices, but it's something that newer gamers can also gravitate towards. So I think it's just one of those kind of like medium weight games that can just be a great game that everyone can enjoy together. I also got in Destiny's Witchwood, which is the new stuff for Destiny's. That is a story-based, app-based game from Lucky Duck Games. It's not really a game that you can repeat too much because you start to know the story elements as you play it. And I think for that reason, it's a game that people may not want to own. They may not see the value in owning it. But I'm always interested in story-based games and campaign games. So that's a game that I think would be very good to do streaming. We can just stream through all of the stories and, you know, have a bunch of videos that feature kind of all of the Destiny's content. So people who want to see that content but don't necessarily want to own the game can enjoy it that way. I also got in Oathsworn Into the Deepwood, which is an enormous dungeon crawler and probably one of the best regarded dungeon crawlers of the last 5 years or so. So that is something I would love to play, do live streaming, and just kind of play through the campaign. Finally, Unmatched Adventures Tales to Amaze showed up, I think, this morning, and that is the new content for Unmatched so that you can play it cooperatively, play it together, and kind of play stories together. And I love Unmatched. I think it's a great game, just really good tactical kind of miniatures card game that has a fighting style that's very specific to each character and their decks of cards. But not everybody likes to play combative, 1v1 or 2v2 games. And I'm really interested to see how this kind of new co-op version of the game works. I think Dice Throne Adventures was one of the best things that Dice Throne ever did. And we'll be talking about Dice Throne in a couple more days. But Dice Throne Adventures is amazing. And again, that is a system that took a really, really good competitive game, kind of, Yahtzee, although a lot more going on than Yahtzee, with dice mitigation and cards and tokens, and they made a cooperative kind of dungeon crawl version of it. So I always like when games do that, when they find new ways to present themselves and possibilities for gameplay to different audiences that might not really like the first form it was presented in. So those are all things that are new to my collection this week. And as I start to gear up and get ready to do teach and review videos again with better equipment and live streaming, I'm really curious to know what you all would like to see me make videos about. So there's a list of games that are new to the collection, and you can let me know if any of those are things that you'd like me to kind of push to the top of the queue once I get going. If you'd like to help support the channel, the best way to do that right now is to like and subscribe. And again, thank you for joining me today and taking a look at these two campaigns with me. And I'll be back again in a couple of days with 8 more campaigns. So until then, play lots of great games. Have a great week, and I'll see you very soon in the next one. Take care.